4 cents. That's what my mother's breakfast cost, not in 1950s money, I mean 4 cents in today's money, at the store I went to on Tuesday, and I did the arithmetic twice because I didn't believe it either. 4 cents, and it was hot, and it went in front of 6 children before school, and every one of them walked 2 miles on it and didn't come home hungry. I bought a box of cereal that same Tuesday. $7.29, and there's about 11 bowls in it if you're honest about the poor, which nobody is. So call it 80 cents a bowl for cold sugar and cold milk that has you hungry again by 10 o'clock. 80 cents against 4 cents, 20 times the money for a worse breakfast. That's not inflation. Somebody did that on purpose. Here's what happened to breakfast in this country, and it happened inside one lifetime, mine. In 1950, breakfast was cooked. It came off a stove, it was hot, it had fat and starch and usually an egg in it, and it cost pennies because it was made out of the 4 cheapest things in the pantry. Then somebody worked out that you cannot sell a man cornmeal for very much money, but you can take that same corn, blow it up, coat it in sugar, put a cartoon on the box, and sell it for 20 times the price. And the thing you're really selling him is that he doesn't have to stand at the stove for 6 minutes. So they sold us convenience, and we bought it, and we handed over the 20 times. And here's the part that ought to make you angry. We didn't even get the convenience. Every one of the breakfasts I'm going to show you today takes under 10 minutes. Most of them take 6. You are not saving time, you are paying a fortune to be told that you are. And your grandmother's breakfast kept you full until noon. That box does not, and it isn't designed to. I'm Otis Barlow. I'm 73 years old, and I live by myself in a cabin in the southern Appalachians, in the same hills I was born in. My mother put breakfast in front of 6 people every single morning through years when there was no money in this house at all. And when she got old, she sat me down at her table with a pencil and made me write it all down, and she made me promise those mornings weren't going in the ground with her. I've got the notebook. The breakfast pages are the front pages, because that's where she started it. 12 breakfasts, every one from the 1950s or before, every one nearly extinct, and every one priced out by me this month at my own store. And number 1 is the 4-cent one. I'll tell you now, so you know whether to stay with me. Number 1 is 3 ingredients, one of which is water. It takes about 7 minutes, and it is the single most filling thing in this entire video. There's one step in it that everybody gets wrong, and getting it wrong is exactly why this breakfast disappeared. People made it badly, decided it was poor people's food, and stopped. I'll show you the step. 12 down to 1. Let's go. One quick thing. If you cook for yourself and you count what it costs, subscribe. That's all I'll ask you for. There's a new one of these every few days out of the same notebook. Number 12. Egg in a nest. A slice of bread with a hole torn out of the middle of it, laid in a hot greased skillet, and the egg cracked straight into the hole. That's the whole thing. 2 minutes on the first side, flip it with the widest thing you own, 1.5 minutes on the second. Salt and pepper. And fry the little round you tore out alongside it, and eat that first, standing up, while the rest cooks. That's not part of the recipe, that's just what everybody has always done. 31 cents. Why it went away? Because it looks like a child's breakfast, and somewhere along the line, grown men decided they were above it. That's the only reason. It is a fried egg and a piece of toast made in one pan instead of 2, and the yolk soaks into the bread instead of running off onto a plate, and it is better than the 2 of them separate in every way that matters. The one thing you have to get right, your pan has to be properly hot before the bread goes in. Put bread in a cool pan and it drinks the grease and goes heavy. Hot pan and it seals and stays crisp. And if you're feeding somebody besides yourself, do them 2 at a time in the same pan and don't crowd them. 2 slices of bread with 2 eggs in them fills a 10-inch skillet exactly. And any more than that and the pan cools down and you're back to soggy bread. That's the only reason this ever fails. Number 11. Fried cornmeal mush. The oldest breakfast in America, and it was on half the tables in this country right up until about 1960. Night before, 3 cups of water and a teaspoon of salt to a boil, then rain in 1 cup of cornmeal with one hand while you stir with the other. Rain it, don't dump it, or you'll be picking lumps out until midnight. 10 minutes of stirring on low until the spoon stands up in it. Pour it into a loaf pan and put it in the cold overnight. In the morning, it's a solid block. Turn it out, slice it 1/2 inch thick, and fry the slices in grease until both sides are brown and crackling. 18 cents a plate. You eat it with molasses, or with syrup, or with gravy, or with an egg on top, and that's 4 different breakfasts out of 1 block that took you 10 minutes last night while you were already in the kitchen anyway. Why it went away, it needs the night before. That's the only strike against it, and it's a real one, but if you make 1 block on a Sunday, you have breakfast handled Monday through Thursday, and for 1 person, that's the best trade in this video. One more thing worth knowing. Save the last 2 slices of the block, and don't fry them. Crumble them into a pot of beans or soup, and they'll thicken it and disappear. Nothing in that loaf pan ever needed to be thrown away, and my mother never threw 1 crumb of it out in her life. Number 10. Milk toast. Now, people laugh at this one, and everybody who laughs has never had it made correctly. Heat 1.5 cups of milk in a pot with a good pat of butter and a pinch of salt. Heat it, do not boil it. Boiled milk goes grainy, and there's no coming back. Toast 2 slices of bread dark. Tear the toast into a bowl. Pour the hot milk over it. Pepper if you want it savory, a spoon of sugar, and a shake of cinnamon if you want it sweet. 22 cents. Why it went away, it got a reputation as sick person food, which it was, because it's the gentlest hot thing you can put in a person. But it was a working man's breakfast long before it was a sickroom tray. And I'll tell you when you'll want this one. When your teeth aren't what they were, or your stomach's turned on you, or it's 5 in the morning and you're up and you don't want anything heavy, this is the one. It is warm and soft, and it asks nothing of you. The toast has to be dark. Pale toast dissolves. Dark toast holds its shape in the milk, and that's the whole difference between a bowl of breakfast and a bowl of paste. And I'll add one thing she used to do that I've never seen anybody else do: a single drop of vanilla in the milk, if it's going sweet. 1 drop. You won't identify it, and you'll notice it's gone if you leave it out. Number 9. Tomato gravy over biscuits. Southern, and I'd put it up against anything they serve in a restaurant now for $14. Spoon of bacon grease in the pan. 2 spoons of flour stirred in and cooked for 1 full minute until it goes tan and smells like a bakery. That minute is the recipe. Then, a small can of crushed tomatoes and 1/2 cup of water or milk. Salt, plenty of black pepper, and 1 teaspoon of sugar. That sugar is not there to make it sweet. Canned tomatoes are sour, and the sugar takes the sour out. Leave it out, and you'll wonder why yours tastes sharp. 5 minutes to thicken. Over split biscuits, or toast, or the fried mush from number 11. 41 cents. Why it went away, sausage gravy took its place. Because sausage gravy is what restaurants sell. But tomato gravy came first in most of these hills, and it costs 1/3 as much, and there's a brightness in it that the white gravy just hasn't got. Make the full pan even if you're on your own. Tomato gravy keeps 4 days in the cold, and it warms back up better than any white gravy will. The milk ones break and go grainy on you, and this one doesn't. Sunday morning's pan is Wednesday morning's breakfast, and you don't lift a finger for it. Number 8. Hoe cakes. Cornmeal, water, salt, and hot grease. 4 things. 1 cup of cornmeal, 1/2 teaspoon of salt, and about 3/4 of a cup of boiling water, stirred in until it's a thick batter. Let it sit 2 minutes to swell. Then spoon it into a hot greased skillet in rounds the size of your palm, and fry them 3 minutes aside until the edges go lace brown. 14 cents for a stack of 4. They were called hoe cakes because field hands cooked them on the blade of a hoe over a fire, and I'm not going to swear that's true, but I heard it from my grandmother, and she wasn't in the habit of embroidering. Why it went away, pancake mix in a box. That's it. Same food, more ingredients. 8 times the price. Eat them with butter, with molasses, with a fried egg on top, or with a bowl of beans, because in this house they were a breakfast and a supper both. Boiling water is the part people miss. Cold water gives you a gritty cake that falls apart in the pan. Boiling water cooks the outside of the meal on contact, and the whole thing binds together without an egg and without flour, which is exactly why this recipe survived in places where there was neither. Number 7. Potato pancakes from last night's mash. Every household in America in 1955 had leftover mashed potatoes, and not one of them threw them out. 2 cups of cold mashed potato, 1 egg, 2 spoons of flour, salt, pepper, and a grated onion if you like. Mix it, form flat cakes with your hands, and fry them in grease 5 minutes aside until they've got a real crust. 26 cents. The mash has to be cold. Warm mash won't hold together, and you'll stand there patching them in the pan. That's the one rule. Why it went away? Because we stopped having leftover mashed potatoes, because we stopped making mashed potatoes from potatoes. And that's the whole story of what happened to poor man's cooking in one sentence. The cheap meal was built on the scraps of the meal before it, and when the first meal came out of a box, there were no scraps to build on. And make the mash on purpose. That's the thing I'd have you take away from this one. Boil 4 potatoes when you only need 2. Mash the lot, and you have built tomorrow's breakfast into tonight's supper without adding 1 minute of work. That is how the whole system used to run. Number 6. Chipped beef gravy on toast. Grease and 2 spoons of flour in the pan, 1 minute of cooking. Then a cup and a half of milk poured in slow and stirred. Then tear in a small package of dried beef, or chopped lunch meat, or the salty end of a ham nobody wanted. No salt, none. The meat is the salt, and salting this is how 9 out of 10 people ruin it. Heavy black pepper, over toast, 58 cents. Why it went away? Every man who came home from the service in the 40s and 50s had eaten it 1,000 times and never wanted to see it again. It got killed by association. Their sons never learned it, and it's a genuinely good breakfast that lost a war it wasn't in. 6 minutes, start to sitting down. When you're my age and it's early, and you're thinking about just having coffee and nothing, this is the thing that stands between you and nothing. If all you've got is bologna, use bologna. Cut it in ribbons and fry it a minute in the grease before you make the gravy so the edges curl and catch. It is not a lesser version of this dish. In this house, it was the version. Number 5. Apple and onion fried together. This is the strangest one on the list, and it's the one I want you to try. Slice 1 onion and 1 apple thin, both into a hot greased pan together, with a pinch of salt and a pinch of sugar. 10 minutes on medium, stirring now and then, until both have gone soft and brown at the edges. Eat it with a fried egg, or on toast, or beside the mush from number 11. 33 cents. The apple goes savory and the onion goes sweet, and they meet in the middle, and the first time you taste it, you will not be able to work out which is which. Why it went away? Nobody sells it, nobody's mother makes it, and it sounds wrong written down. That's the entire reason. It cost my mother nothing, because both things grew within 100 yards of this door, and it is genuinely one of the best flavors I know. Any apple works, including the soft ones going brown in the bowl that you were about to feel guilty about. In fact, the soft ones are better. They break down faster and they're sweeter. This is the recipe that exists so that no apple in your kitchen ever has to be thrown out. Number 4. Sawmill gravy and biscuits. Grease in the pan, a good 3 spoons of it. 3 spoons of flour. Cook it 1 minute, longer than you think, until it goes the color of a paper bag. Then 2 cups of milk poured in slow. Salt and pepper until it looks like too much pepper, and then a bit more. That's it. No sausage. Sausage came later, and sausage is the expensive version. 39 cents for a pan of it, which is 4 plates. Sawmill gravy is called that because the men at the mills ate it, and there's a story that the cornmeal in it was so coarse it looked like sawdust. Whether that's so, I couldn't tell you. Why it went away, it didn't, quite. but the version that survived has $3 of sausage in it, and the original didn't need it. Pepper and browned flour is what makes gravy taste like something. The meat was always optional, and we forgot that. And the color is how you know. Pale gravy tastes of raw flour no matter how much salt you throw at it. Take that flour the color of a paper bag, and you will not have to season it much at all. Everybody rushes this, and everybody's gravy tastes the same kind of flat because of it. Number 3. Cornmeal pancakes. Half cornmeal, half flour, and they are better than the flour-only kind, and nobody makes them. Half a cup of cornmeal, half a cup of flour, a teaspoon of baking powder, half a teaspoon of salt, 1 egg, and about a cup of milk or buttermilk. Mix it rough, lumps are fine, and beating pancake batter smooth is the most common mistake in American breakfast cooking. Rest it 5 minutes, fry in grease. 27 cents for a stack. The cornmeal gives you a grit and a crunch at the edges that a plain pancake never has, and it holds you 3 hours longer, which is the part that matters when you've got a day of work in front of you. Why it went away? The box. Again, always the box. Buttermilk if you have it. It's the cheapest thing in the dairy case. It keeps for weeks, and with a half teaspoon of baking soda added, it lifts these cakes in a way sweet milk simply cannot. 1 carton will last you a month of breakfasts. Number 2. Eggs poached in tomato. 1 can of diced tomatoes into a pan with a little onion, salt, pepper, and a pinch of sugar. Let it cook down 8 minutes until it's thick. Then make wells in it with the back of a spoon and crack 2 eggs into the wells. Lid on. 5 minutes until the whites are set and the yolks are still soft. Eat it out of the pan with bread. 62 cents, and it's the most complete breakfast on this list. Protein, vegetable, and something to sop with. Why it went away in this country, I honestly don't know. Every poor farming people on earth has a version of this dish, and ours quietly stopped making it somewhere around the time the diner opened. The lid is what does the work. The eggs steam. Without the lid, the tops stay raw, and you'll cook the bottoms to rubber waiting on them. And now, number 1. The 4-cent breakfast. And put a slice of bread in the pan alongside the eggs for the last 2 minutes to soak up at the edge of the tomato. Now there's no plate involved at all. And when you live alone, the number of dishes is not a small thing. It is the thing that decides whether you cook tomorrow. Number 1. Cornmeal mush, hot, in a bowl, with a spoon of grease and salt. 3 ingredients: cornmeal, water, salt. And I'll tell you the 4th thing it needs in a minute, because that's the step everybody gets wrong. Here's the making of it. Bring 3 cups of water to a boil with a good teaspoon of salt. Take 1 cup of cornmeal and rein it in with your left hand while your right hand keeps the spoon moving. Turn it down to low. Now stir it for 10 minutes. 10, not 3. That's the step. That is the entire reason this breakfast disappeared out of American kitchens, and I want to be plain about it. People cook cornmeal for 3 minutes. It tastes raw and chalky, and it sits in your mouth like sand. And they decide mush is poor people's food, and they never make it again. Their children never taste a good one, and in 1 generation a breakfast that fed this whole country is gone. Cornmeal needs 10 minutes to swell and burst. At about minute 7 it changes under the spoon. It goes from gritty to smooth, and it starts pulling away from the sides of the pot in one mass. When it does that, it's done. You can feel it happen through the handle. Then, into a bowl, with a spoon of bacon grease or butter melting into the top of it, and a good pinch of salt over that. A pour of milk around the edge if you have milk. Molasses if you want it sweet. Cornmeal is about $2 for a 2-pound bag. A cup of it is 4 servings. That's 4 cents a serving, and the salt and the grease don't move the number enough to bother about. 4 cents, 7 minutes of standing at a stove. And now I want to say the thing I actually came here to say. I ate this every school morning of my life until I was about 15 years old, and I was ashamed of it. I knew what the other children were eating because they told me, and I remember standing in the yard at school lying about my breakfast. My mother knew that. She never once said anything about it. What she was doing, and I did not understand this until she was dead and I was sitting in this kitchen with her notebook, was putting a hot, heavy, honest breakfast in front of 6 children every single morning for 4 cents apiece during years when there was not $1 in this house. Every morning. Not most, everyone. There was nothing poor about that breakfast. The only poor thing in that room was what I thought about it. So if you're on your own now, and you're watching the price of everything, and some part of you feels small about eating cheap, I'd ask you to let that go. Cheap isn't the same as poor. Cheap is somebody's grandmother solving a problem so well that it's still solved 70 years later. 12 of them. If you make one, make number 1, and give it the full 10 minutes. And if you've only got the will for 6 minutes, make number 12, the egg in the bread, because it's 31 cents, and it'll take you back 40 years. Now do something for me. Tell me down in the comments what was on your table before school, just the name of it. I read every single one of these, and I'll tell you honestly that about a third of what I cook on this channel now comes out of those comments instead of out of my notebook. There are breakfasts down there I had never heard of in my life. My mother's whole book is written out and priced out at the link below if you'd rather hold it than wait on me. Next time, the lazy sandwiches out of the 1970s cookbooks, for the nights when you're too tired to cook anything at all. And there's one on that list that has 4 ingredients, and I have eaten it once a week for 50 years. Subscribe if you haven't. Coffee's on. I'm Otis Barlow. Go eat something.